Okay, this is Kurt from the Tile Doctor again. We're here to talk about the Leadercoal grouting product called Starlike. Everything is in this book. We call it the trilogy book because there's 3 different books in it. And if you look at book number 1, which is the classic series, we have the 15 classic colors, and then you're able to add 3 different levels of finish, literally just by adding a pouch. You're able to change the colors to these different colors. So you've got 15 classic colors, 3 different additives, gives you all these options. The area that designers seem to like the best is the highly chromatic colors, the designer glamour colors. Same thing, 15 glamour colors. You add any one of the same pouches that gives you the different effects. We call these finishes. In the smallest book here, it's the metallic and then the glass grout. The top 5 are metallics. We actually have a glow in the dark additive that you can put with certain colors that'll make the grout glow in the dark, which is pretty exciting for exterior applications. And then the crystal glass grout, which is used a lot with glass mosaics, and then we have the actual colored glass grout also. Okay, that's everything here in the trilogy book. We have a new series out called Jewels, which really takes advantage of the crystal glass grout's ability to refract color. So we have the glass grout that you can use just by itself here in this bucket, or you can add a pouch of one of the 27 different colors like this to it after you're mixing, which we're going to show you in a minute, and then it creates this color palette, which is fabulous for glass tile. So some special things about this product line are that because it's an artisan type product, it's not your typical epoxy commercial type of grout. We have special tools. Because the buckets are a little smaller, we have a special mixer that enables you to get in and mix up the product without the paddle actually going over the top of the pail. Your traditional mixers that are for tile use are generally a lot taller, and all you end up doing is splashing grout everywhere, and waste a lot of money. So we sell a product specifically made size for the pail. We also have a float. Notice the thickness of this is much thinner than your traditional epoxy float. And the reason we have this is because, again, it's an artisan application. You're not trying to force a lot of grout in a big 6x6 quarry tile commercial kitchen. You're doing small tiles in small areas, so you need the control with the lighter. We also have different edges here on the float, different types of bevels. So depending upon the work you're doing, enables you still to get the right amount of grout in, but you have more control. The other thing also is the most important tool of all is the scrub pad. You start your cleaning process with this, and you use plenty of water, and then the next thing you do is use your typical hydro sponge that most of your tile installers use, and then you do the final cleanup and wash. So within the pail, you have 2 components, whether it's the glass grout or it's a colored product. You have the instructions in 19 languages. You have the catalyst, which is the part B. And then you have a separator which divides part A and part B. With this, just for the purpose of the video, we're showing you the bright red grout, which is actually very popular. But this product right here, mixed with this alone, there's no dosing you have to do. And we're going to show you mixing that in a moment, or us mixing it in a moment. And then we're actually going to add a pouch of the additive to show you the final effect, how to put all of the components together. Okay, as I said before, it doesn't matter whether you're mixing a color or glass grout, the process is really the same. You need to make sure you mix it mechanically. You're going to find the safety seal. Go ahead and break that. The instruction packet is inside. This is your catalyst. It's important that you get virtually all of this out. And then the separator, which generally has some of the grout stuck to it, you're going to use a margin trowel or some other device to be able to get that all off and get it as clean as you can. So here's the paste. This is the part A, and this is the part B. Again, I'm wearing rubber gloves. It is only an irritant, but still you want to make sure that you wear protective clothing, gear, whatever's necessary. For this, I'm just going to cut it with scissors. You can use a razor knife, whatever you do. I like to just clip the corner of it, and then I fold it over and start to push part B out with my fingers. Notice it running in there. Again, you never want to mix this by hand, because what will happen is not that this catalyst won't get completely mixed thoroughly throughout the paste, and you could have locally soft areas that don't set up in your grout, and that you don't want. So the last thing I do is I kind of fold it over, and that gives me the ability to squeeze the maximum amount out. See how much more I'm able to get that just by folding it over to concentrate it in a specific area. And you'll see that I've gotten virtually all of that out. There's a few little areas that I'll just continue to push out, but this is important. The temperature you mix at is also important. You want to try to mix it at a room temperature type situation of about 70 degrees, no higher than 80, 85. But if you have to, in a hot area, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put the grout in a bath of cool water or something ahead of time to get the temperature of the paste down to a proper temperature where you can mix it. So this shows how we're going to mix the product. Generally, you put it between your feet. That's the best way to hold it. And then you always want to use the proper size mixer. And if you don't have an already slow RPM mixer, you want to get a variable speed mixer so you can adjust the speed to where you don't go too fast. If you mix it really fast, you'll get not only air entrapped within the mixture, but it'll heat the mix up and make it set up faster. So you want to mix it where you can control the mixing speed of the grout, of the paste, and the part B component going into it. You'll notice once it starts to get mixed and starts to get integrated into the part A, the B, that it gets a smoother looking mix, and you can really tell when it's starting to get mixed in. It thins out a little bit with the B going into it. You want to make sure you get all the products mixed up well. Okay, so now we've got it mixed up, which looks fairly adequate. I'm going to show you kind of the final step before applying it. If you're going to use this color just as it is, obviously you want to shake off the maximum amount you can off of your paddle so you don't waste it and then scrape off. For purposes of this video, I'm going to set this aside now, but in most cases you want to scrape off the most that you can. Let me just set this aside. So your final step is to take a margin trowel or other type of steel trowel, and you want to go in the bottom and make sure that you don't have any unmixed paste, or you don't have any areas that look just like catalyst sitting down in there. So you're going to want to make sure that you've gotten all your edges off the edge of the pail. And you're going to want to look at it and make sure it all looks the same color throughout the mixture there. So notice on the sides right here, I'm going to take some of that off and make sure that it's all the same throughout. So you can use this right now as it is, but we're going to show you how to use one of the finished additives. The best way to do it, because this is a kind of a glittery product, can get fairly airborne. What we try to tell you to do is make a pocket. This is a little bit more difficult with the glass grout because it's a little bit more fluid, but we make a pocket. We tear the seal off the top of the additive, and then you're going to open this up, which hopefully I can get open with these gloves on. And I'll just cut it. So now inside here, it talks about the additive. You have one pack for 5.5 pounds, or you use 2 if you're using an 11-pound bucket of grout. So there's your additive there. And notice we've got that hollow spot right in there so that it won't get as airborne. You want to make sure you get it all in there, because that will match the grout sample color that you've seen and you've picked your grout off. Again, you want to mix this mechanically. So you can do the same thing, put it between your feet, put the paddle in there slowly, and start to mix it slowly, so you don't have this getting airborne and going everywhere. And this is going to require some mixing to get this thoroughly dispersed in the grout. You have the glitter be the same everywhere. See it start to mix through the grout. turn the paddle sideways, it'll grab the side of that tail and pull everything off. Get down along the bottom. Okay. So I'm going to repeat what we just did with this trowel and make sure I've got all the edges, because you'll see some of the edges there don't have any glitter in it. Again, you're going to knock off everything you can knock off. There's no sense in wasting the grout. I'm just going to set this aside. But you're going to want to go grab everything off the edges that you can and make sure you get this mixed throughout the grout. Now you have the finishes thoroughly added to the grout. This has the gold sparkle in it. So that's what you're going to get in your tile.